At Washington Cemetery in Midwood, Brooklyn, right underneath the subway tracks, there are two general sorts of gravestones. This is a Jewish cemetery, so most of the stones look like the traditional Jewish stones. They're gray, granite, relatively simple and relatively uniform. In the instance of this cemetery, they mostly have German Jewish names on them. Elsewhere in the cemetery, sort of lining the edges, there are jet black stones with photorealistic portraits of the deceased etched onto them with lasers. These stones mostly have Russian Jewish names, and they're part of a trend that is changing Jewish cemeteries all across the country of Jews from the former Soviet Union who choose these types of stones instead of the traditional stones. Since the 1980s, Jews from Georgia, from the Bukharian community, and other relatively recent immigrants from the former Soviet Union have been buying and setting these stones up above their grave sites. There doesn't seem to be any consensus within the community about how you're supposed to look on your gravestone. Some people look young, are portrayed as they were when they were young men and women. Some people look as they did when they died, older. Some of them smile, some of them don't smile. This process is very expensive, and that's the source of some rabbis' objections to it. The engraving can add $1,000 and up to the basic price of a tombstone. There's a temptation to dismiss these monuments as newfangled and overly ornate, but looking across Washington Cemetery at huge mausoleums dedicated to single families and stones carved in the shapes of trees, it's clear that newfangled and ornate has been a part of the Jewish tradition of memorialization for well over a century.